Hello, you know me. I'm Father David Buersmeyer, your pastor. And though I've not done this before on any other election issue, I'm addressing these remarks to all parish members of St. Regis Parish regarding the upcoming vote on Proposal 3. I believe I need to do so if I'm to be true to what it means to be your pastor, concerned for everyone's spiritual well-being. I believe it to be that important. I recognize that many people are afraid, in light of the recent Supreme Court decision, that a woman's freedom to have a say over her life will be stripped or legally taken away from her. I recognize that there are extremely difficult situations involving the life of the mother or circumstances of rape or incest that the majority of people believe should be an exception to any law restricting abortion. But Proposal 3 is not the right vehicle to remedy those issues. It would not restore laws in place prior to the recent Supreme Court decision. Rather, it would open up abortion so widely that it would become almost impossible in the future to place any meaningful safeguards and restrictions in the law. Safeguards, by the way, that a large majority of citizens of this state have previously said they support. Please, read the proposal very carefully and look at some analysis on what's going to be allowed if it is passed. Words matter, and the words of this proposed amendment are deliberately complicated with far-reaching, even extreme consequences. For example, this proposal could have been worded to say individual adults, but deliberately says all individuals, which means minors as well as adults. This breaks apart the parent-child bond when they most need to be supporting each other. Minors cannot now be given something as simple as a tablet of Tylenol or pain pill without permission of a parent, but then, with this proposal, could seek an abortion without any such permission? Minors who cannot get a tattoo without permission of a parent now could seek to be sterilized and other reproductive procedures without such permission? Please, how is this good or responsible? It is wrong. It goes too far. Another example, the proposal could have been worded to allow meaningful limits on abortion, but instead, after saying laws can be passed after the time the fetus is viable, it goes on to say only if these do not conflict with the amendment. And it says that exceptions must always be given, not just for things like the physical life of the mother or out of incidents of rape or incest, but for any mental health concern. This effectively negates any meaningful restrictions, allowing abortion right up to the moment of birth if someone says they are too stressed or too depressed. These are just two of several ways this proposal is badly worded, too extreme, too complicated to be put into our state's constitution, saying nothing of how it fails to protect the true health and well-being of mother and child, using language that makes it nearly impossible to place restrictions on who is qualified to perform an abortion, or forbidding any laws that would make people who aid in abortion accountable for any medical mistakes that they might make. Again, I understand the concern that the pre-existing law on abortion that went into effect with the overturning of Roe v. Wade is seen by many as too harsh or restrictive. But state courts have already begun to intervene in such matters, and the legislature can relatively easily make new laws and meaningful adjustments. The fear that all sorts of women will be forced against their will to have babies is simply not a truthful understanding of what will happen if Proposal 3 is defeated. Voting for an extreme, open-ended amendment that makes Michigan a state with nearly unlimited access to abortion right up to the point of birth is not the answer. I want to be clear as well that I personally am voting no because I believe it to be the morally right decision according to my conscience, not simply because the bishops told me so or I think all priests have to vote that way. The Church's moral teaching on direct abortion, the taking of an innocent life, is clear, definitive, and will not change. There are no exceptions, not even in the case of rape or incest. That does not mean, however, that laws which offer such exceptions have to always be voted down. If that is the best we can do at this time to gain the support of most citizens, Catholics can vote for a compromised law if it brings us closer to a morally better approach. But Proposal 3 is no compromise law. It is the opposite of the best we can do. It is not the morally better approach. It is morally deficient, terribly wrong. So bottom line, if you are against Proposal 3 already, please get out and vote on Election Day or by absentee ballot prior to that. Every vote will be important. Have conversations with family members and friends. If the reason any might be thinking of supporting the proposal has to do with trying to protect a woman's right to choose or fear that an older law will be too severe, please ask them to study the language of the proposal and what those words mean and reconsider. If you yourself are still uncertain about how to vote, do some more reflecting and praying. If you cannot come to peace with a vote of no, I ask that you at least abstain from voting in favor of this proposal. In Psalm 139, the psalmist captures so well our understanding of human life as a gift and the work of God's hands when he says, "You formed my inmost being. You knit me in my mother's womb." Even those who are not people of faith know the wonder of newly forming life and the excitement that comes from anticipating the birth of a child. To legally sanction the destruction of such life for nearly any reason whatsoever up until the moment of birth goes against our nature as human beings. For that reason, I believe the very soul of this state and its people are at risk with Proposal 3. Under the guise of seemingly positive language, reproductive freedom for all, what will be enshrined in our state's constitution, and so very, very difficult to ever change in the future, is access to and promotion of abortion right up to birth, without meaningful restrictions. How sad, how wrong. Over time, such acceptance will numb our spiritual sensibilities and make us more and more complicit with a cynical view of life. We can and must do so much better for women and children than Proposal 3. Please, vote no, or at least do not vote yes. Thank you.